Hello, party people. It's your boy Dre. You're listening to Find Time. Well, no shit. You know that already. I'm here with the Steve and the Kevin. I like to put the in front of everyone's names lately. I'm not sure why this is happening, but I feel important when I do it, Kevin.
It makes me feel like a tool. like a utility that you feel like you can use at will.
Yeah, I can use you. I'm using the Kevin on the podcast on the Find Time. The Steve. What does the Steve think about that?
Don't forget to sign the paychecks, please.
I'll send you that 3 cents from our revenue or whatever in the mail. Okay, I'm gonna start here of what we've been playing. Of course, believe it or not, this is kind of outside of my not expertise, just something most people wouldn't necessarily expect me to play. I played Jak and Daxter this past week. And with this new PS Plus, I've just been opening myself up to all sorts of all sorts of new experiences. And I don't know what made me pick up Jak and Daxter. It's like, let's see this. But I did. I played the whole thing. I don't like 3D platformers typically. I like Mario games. It's a big difference. I feel like Mario gets right what no other 3D platformer does, basically, for a variety of reasons, but I feel like that's kind of a different discussion. I tried Jak and Daxter. I tried Jak and Daxter on Vita, I would say, I don't know, 2013, 14, whenever that came to Vita, and it inexplicably ran like shit. I have no idea why a PS2 game ran like shit on Vita, but it did. I tried powering through it, and I couldn't, Steve.
I have a quick question. Was that routine on Vita, or was that just Jak and Daxter?
Vita had the same sort of bottleneck problem as like Nintendo 64, where you just couldn't get high frame rates most of the time. It was very hard to get stuff to run at 60. It would look good, but 60 frames a second was kind of out of the question. But forget about Jak and Daxter Vita. 60 was a pipe dream. I mean, this was like 15, 20. Like, this was really bad. So I didn't really feel like it. Here on PlayStation Plus, what fucking tier do we have? Extra, classic, premium? I don't even know what it's
Super Deluxe
called.
with cheese.
Super Deluxe with cheese, PlayStation Plus. I'm playing Jak and Daxter, and I have a lot of fun. The reason why this game succeeds for me personally, where so many others just don't, is the world is super organic and the game flow feels organic as a result. I feel like so many 3D platformers have like really shittily, they just look like, here's a bunch of platforms, it doesn't look like a world, it looks like a obstacle course. Now look, Mario games can often look like an obstacle course as well, but they're not like open design. If you're doing something like Super Mario 3D World, it's appropriate to design levels that way. I feel like it's inappropriate to design Banjo-Tooie that way, or, you know, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
Wonderworld.
yeah, exactly, right? It just, to me, they always look like a mess. Ukulele, right? So, and I feel like that's what everyone else gets wrong. Jak and Daxter gets this right. And that's the thing also. We always call them collectathons, right? Because of the rare bullshit, and you do collect stuff. I don't want to collect things in games like this. I want to earn them. It should feel as much as getting to the flagpole at the end of a Mario stage, almost like, okay, you did this thing. Right? Yeah, there's ways you can cheese stars or shines or whatever, right? But you know what I'm trying to say. For the most part, that's not the case. Even in Mario Galaxy, where you go around collecting, moons are everywhere, right? You still have to ultimately find stuff or do stuff to get to them. They're not very often just laying around for you to get. And I feel like that's the thing in Jak and Daxter. There isn't a whole lot of them laying around to get. You really have to do tasks, not always fight bosses and stuff like that, but really earn them. And that's what this game does correctly. And I really enjoyed that. The only time I got stuck in this game was there was one long jump move that they didn't teach you how to do, even though this game tutorializes like the rest of it. They didn't tell you how to do that, so I couldn't get across this jump for like forever, and I didn't know how. And it's like, oh, But like, think about the fact that I got like almost all the way through the game without doing that. Shows you how like not necessary that move was. But whatever. That's a small flaw.
That's funny because I played this maybe 2 years ago, and I'm sure I ran into the exact same scenario as well. So it wasn't just you.
Okay. Oh, so you played it recently too. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I did not know how to do that move. I had to look it up. The game's a technical marvel. Still, it's a PS2 game from 20 years ago. But the fact that a game like this ran 60 frames a second at like and cut back on the right visual things to make that happen and have a very consistent, like very good looking world with like all the character animated faces and stuff like that with all the polygons. Like that was not a thing we did back then. That was so cool for them to see them do in real time graphics. The one last thing I'll say is that the characters and like the dialogue was so weird that it was almost surreal. I almost feel like they should have gone even weirder with it, like a 90s like MTV cartoon, like like The Head, or what was that guy's name? The Big Head? Anyone know what I'm talking about? Anyway, but stuff like that, like it should have gone even stranger with it. It almost, but in 2002, I guess that sort of 90s humor was sort of like outdated, but I don't know. That's kind of what I kind of wish it was. But I don't know. Other than that, I really enjoyed Jak and Daxter. If I can stomach it, I'll talk about Jak 2 when I beat that. But oh boy, that is a game, all right.
Did you have any issues with the final boss? Because I loved that game, and then I got to the final boss, and it really fucking pissed me off.
No. I mean, look, it was hard. I definitely did restart, I don't know, 5 or 6 times.
But it wasn't just hard, it was very bullshitty.
Here's the thing, though. I think the other things in this game are also bullshitty. I wouldn't specifically say that boss is bull. I think the boss over the lava, where he's like shooting rocks at you and then you have to like go up the bridge or whatever, I thought that was actually more bullshitty. I restarted more on that than I did the final boss, personally. That's just me, but no, I agree. I mean, the bosses in this game are generally bullshitty. So, but I didn't think he was any more so. But that was just my experience. I don't know. He wasn't. I mean, it wasn't the most fair. I mean, of course, but yeah. But I enjoyed that. Jak 2. Excuse me, I almost said Jak and Daxter 2. That is not it. Just Jak 2. Oh boy, that's something. But anyway, Steve, what you been playing lately?
Well, it's been a busy June, and I've been, I guess everyone, on the show people know, and I did share some screenshots on Twitter, but guys, I played Final Fantasy 15, the real one.
I'm already, okay, just keep going.
It's been a long road. To briefly recap, I first played at New York Comic Con 2016 in front of a bunch of big screens. There was no real demo set for it, so they made you do the first part of the game where you're pushing the car, and then you're running around trying to pass time until they fix the car. And I'm like, okay, you know what? This isn't going to be it for me. And the guy's like, and I just keep going, and I'm waiting for the demo to end. And the guy's like, okay, we need to let someone else have a turn. I'm like, oh, no, this is the full game. I'm like, oh no.
I can't believe they didn't just do the Final Fantasy 15 demo that was like on PS4. They should have just done that. I have no idea why they let you play the real game.
And then they gave me the shirt that I'm wearing right now. And like, okay, we hope you buy the game soon. And since I had a Wii U at the time and I wasn't even buying into this, I'm like, probably not. And a few years later, they would put out Pocket Edition HD, which I bought for like $8 when it was on sale. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Fine. We'll go through it and give it a shot. And
unbelievable.
And then I figured out, oh, wait, maybe these Hot Topic rejects aren't so bad after all. And yeah, once you get past the part where we're pushing the car and hunting after scorpions and other nonsense at the beginning, yes, the charm starts becoming apparent then, because you're Prince Noctis and it's you and your buddies on a road trip. You know, and it's everything that comes with that. Like, you know, when all your friends insist on going on detours. Knock, let's pull over on the side of the road and take pictures, huh? All right. monsters, could we stop for candy? I don't see why not. Look, there's some historical monuments over there. We should go investigate. Fine.
I like how you just come across a random cave sometimes, and it's like, oh, this is Final Fantasy, right? It's time to do a thing.
And and you still have a car, so better not let the gas gauge hit empty, or we're pushing the car again. Or I never actually let this happen, but apparently that is a thing. Has anyone actually done this?
I went to shop so often that, like, you know what I mean? I like that too. The gas stations are basically the
inns and things.
Yeah. It's great.
And then everyone here knows I like my fishing mini games, and that redeemed it. That was like, you know what, I'm liking this road trip, and then it was like I found my first fishing spot. I'm like, okay, now I'm into this for however long we're in this for. But if you go fishing too long, and then it's nighttime, and then the bad monsters come out that kill you in like a hit or two, so you better
get attacked while you're fishing.
Well, not necessarily, but if you want to move on from that spot, you gotta.
Okay.
I mean, actually, I don't know. Speaking of monsters, we spent some time on here talking last time. Oh, what's the moment-to-moment of Final Fantasy 16 gonna be like? Well, let me talk to you in case anyone forgot what the moment-to-moment of Final Fantasy 15 battles were like. You chuck a sword at an enemy, and you keep chucking the sword at the enemy until it dies. You drink some MP juice, and you repeat the cycle. I feel like that's how most of my battles went.
People made such a big deal about this battle system at the time, and I'm like, it's perfectly fucking fine. I don't know, like whether people like got really into it. Oh, it's so cool. People are like, oh, I hate it. I was like, it exists. It's fine.
Occasionally, I build up a meter on the side, and I can tell Prompto to shoot things. Gotta shoot fast! I can tell Ignis to point at things. Hit that thing over there! Or I can tell Gladio to hit things. Gonna hit this thing over here, Your Majesty. And I mean, and then later on we get another meter that builds up, and then I could throw all the weapons and everything. So and then they all die. I mean, that wasn't too. We've all figured this out, so I think we could figure out Final Fantasy 16.
I mean, you were speaking as someone who has not played Final Fantasy VII Remake yet, so you might want to hold your tongue, lass.
Yeah. Okay. But just for a second, we talk about how this game took a decade to make, but still needed all the product placement.
Can we talk about how this game took a decade to make, but the last third of it, they still couldn't scrub the Nomura out of it at all? It was purely Nomura.
Oh, I'm gonna get there because in addition to finding cup noodles with my friends and sitting on Coleman brand camping equipment and finding a real wedding dress designed by a real fashion designer that my sisters know more about than I do.
I forgot about the Coleman camping equipment. I completely forgot about that. Yeah.
the cup noodles was pretty natural, but the Coleman.
I mean, I love the sheer cheese of the whole thing because they just really leaned into it. And then at the end, it's like, man, nothing's better than real cup noodles. Just that combination of noodles, salt, shrimp.
They did a whole commercial. Yeah.
Like they really leaned into that.
I don't know why they made Gladio do that. Was Ignis too prissy for cup noodles, I guess, or like?
Well, Ignis made the fancier cup noodles once you got the recipe.
Say it.
I'm saving it for a moment because, guys, I braved the Pocket Edition, and one of the things I pointed out was that after a point, I felt like I missed out on some scenes. You get Leviathan, and you lose your fiancé, and then we wake up. And Ignis goes blind off screen. Yeah, let's talk about cooking for a second. We get animal droppings and things, and he goes, "I've come up with a new recipe," and it's like shit on a stick. Like, can't wait to taste test.
What kills me is that half the time it's like, "That's it. I've come up with it." It's the "that's it" that really I thought of two slices of roast beef on this toast. By the way, even though this game is old now, the food looks incredible in this game. It's the best looking food I've ever seen. It's great.
I don't think I've ever wanted a fake ass Oscar Mayer on a sandwich more than ever looking at it at this game.
Well, I don't know. After you were talking about the animal droppings, though, I'd be scared there's cactar cum in the sandwich or something.
That's better than mayo, okay, for sure. I would love cactar cum spread. Speaking of sandwiches, my favorite thing was the Chocobo Club sandwich. It's just Chocobo on a sandwich. It's just, I can't believe that was great. I never thought they'd depict Chocobo as something you could eat. Like,
I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, they do farm them, and although I did find it kind of funny after prompt was like, "Gotta see the chocobos," and then you're going there and they're feeding you chocobo.
Yeah, Chocobo Club sandwich, just excellent stuff.
But anyway, guys, Ignis goes blind. Isn't that a tragedy that we didn't really need? On top of losing the fiance and losing a kingdom and.
That's my problem with the game mainly, is that when we get into this third act, the Nomura act, basically, where they didn't get to fix everything, everyone suffers for no reason and no gain. Ignis goes blind, you lose your fiance, everybody's fucked up. You find out stuff about Prompto, which is weird, that doesn't actually matter. And then it's like everyone just goes through the suffering, but there's no not that everything has to have a happy ending, but it's just like I don't get the point of this. It was dreary and bad.
I mean, I might as well start now. We were having fun on this road trip, and then we get a boat. Hooray, a boat! Now we can take this road trip on the water, and we only have it for a chapter, and we only take it to the one place. So what was the fucking point of that when on the next chapter, the thing that we all picked on Final Fantasy 13 for, we literally get stuck on for the rest of the game when they literally stick you on rails.
That's why the thing I always say about 15, it's a great game until it's not.
I mean, I was here for, and then they literally stop to tell the story along the way, and we even have this whole chapter where they passively aggressively yell at you if you step a few feet ahead of poor blind Ignis, who was like, "Guys, I don't have a new recipe."
Oh my god, why did you have to do that?
Because it was unnecessarily sad. They're like, I'm not going to see anymore. I'm like, guys, what the fuck?
I know. And there's no gain. It's just sad. And then the ending happens. But I wanted to say, did you notice that after a bunch of shit goes down, and they're like not nearly as happy as they were before and with each other, when Noctis commands them to do something, it's no longer very, like before he was like Prompto, now he's like Prompto Ignis. Like it was like they actually changed the voice like to be sad. It's like, oh my god. Like they really did that.
When you say there was no game, though, like I think when you like at the very end when it does jump ahead in time and everybody comes together, is that like kind of the payoff to that? I mean, I know it's not happy go lucky, but I think that's the reasoning for it.
It's time to do that because Prompto's bullshit is, guys, I'm a robot. And I guess you could, if you really want to use Galaxy Brain, you can use the fact that he keeps humming the Final Fantasy victory theme, and other meta shit like, guys, I want to see chocobos, guys, I want to take pictures. I keep leveling up, and I'm like, you can use that as your big clue that he was actually a Magitech soldier the whole time. But otherwise, they're like, guys, I'm a robot. I secretly knew how to open doors the whole time, and I didn't do this for you. And they're like, you're always part of the team, Prompto, whether you want to be or not, unless you don't want to be. I'm like, okay.
I think Kevin's right, though. I think that was supposed to be the payoff to all that, but that's not enough, obviously. Like, that's not good enough at all. So, I mean,
eventually we have to start really dealing with Chancellor Jackass. He's this guy who wears all black and a very... It's a black fedora, I guess, even when it's sunny and way too hot out. Voiced by not Jeremy Irons. I honestly, it was very close. I thought it was. I had to look that shit up. I'm like, nope, it's this guy. Oh, Noct. There's more to being a kingdom and all that shit. I'm like, okay. And then he starts fondling his brain to manipulate bullshit, and then we get to the end, like, you can't kill me, and then he does kill him with the power of friendship and anime light beam sword thing, and and then we sacrifice ourselves for the greater good in this apocalypse, and we go to the afterlife where we take a photo with us because we're allowed to take one, I guess. I kind of wish, if I knew we were doing that, I would have taken one of the fishing photos and not the fun one of the four of us hanging there. Like, I would be like, see, I gave up fishing to be here with you.
Did you guys see Kingsglaive, the movie that ties to this?
I did. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. And that makes the first, like, I don't know, 7 hours of this game make a lot more sense, especially like pushing the car and like the whole thing. You have a lot more context to all of that. And not that it's like essential viewing, but like I'm so glad I watched it before I played this game.
See, I watched it after I finished the game, but it definitely added a lot after the fact.
Okay, yeah. So
I'll look into it soon, but I mean, despite my complaining, I did like this game, and I even thought, you know what, let me go. I got a lot of these trophies already. Maybe I can get my first platinum. So I'm going through the list. Max out my skills. Oh, these skills seem doable until I hit the one on the bottom. Kill Nanatoys. Oh, that sounds easy. I've killed hundreds of these guys throughout the years. Where do I find this fucker? And then I go on the Final Fantasy wiki or whatever. You have to accept this job. Okay, easy enough. And then I look further down. Final Fantasy 15's Nanatoys has over 5 million HP. Nope, we're done with this game.
Guess who did it? It took me 2.5 hours to kill Adamantoys. It took that fucking long. I almost ran out of my 99 potions and ethers and whatever the fuck. I almost ran out.
I mean, given how not optional, but scarce magic is, I'm like, oh, and that's how you usually kill a Nanatoys. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm doing okay here. Maybe I'll try the other episodes in the future, but we'll call this a miniature I was wrong episode. Final Fantasy 15 was good after all.
It's good until it's not, but I still recommend it because the good part is still so good that it really takes over the bad part, and it's fine. So that's how I always feel.
Why did you go after the bad guy for wearing a hat in the sun? That's when you would wear a hat.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
no,
what
it was more like he's wearing a trench coat and things like in the.
I know, but I'm just saying a hat in the sun is probably just a good choice for skin health.
Yes, I believe so.
I don't know. They give you files on why he's doing what he's doing, and even that's kind of flimsy.
He has the least motivation I've ever seen for a villain in an RPG. Like, the absolute least. I have no idea what his motivation is. I played the whole game, and I still don't know.
Guy, I'm sorry you were alive for the first king, but this has nothing to do with you today.
I have no idea. That's why the game goes off the rails when he kills her. It's like, okay, why? And then the entire game spins into chaos, and it never pulls out of it. So it's like
the best I can glean is that despite everything, there is one small part of Arden that wants Noctis to kill him after his millennia's long life. That is like the best I can glean from this, whatever flimsy context they've provided to me in the game.
Lex Luthor and Batman vs. Superman, one of the worst movies I've ever seen, had more motivation than this guy did in Final Fantasy 15. Like, it's unbelievable. Anyway, let's talk about the thing we're all here to talk about. Let's talk about the thing. And then Kevin might have a thing after. We got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. Guys, it sucks. No, it was, it was better than I could ever imagine. Overall, let's start there. Overall, better than I ever thought it could be. And my expectations were sky high for a number of reasons, but let's quickly go around. Steve, expectations met, higher, lower?
Higher. This is the best turtle game I've played, I think.
Kevin?
Yeah, higher for sure.
It's funny. We all were up there too. And for me, I am a huge fan of tribute games, the people who made this game. And when look, I'm obviously infamously even skeptical of retro revivals, indie games that try to do retro stuff. I'm always like, This, when I saw tribute games, it is an exception. Mercenary Kings might be my favorite indie game of all time. Flint Hook, Panzer Paladin from a couple years ago. Their shit is A++. And when I heard they were doing Turtles, I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be the best. And it was the best. So just for me, having a unique perspective of coming in here as a Tribute Games fanboy, absolutely expectations met from that angle too. And yes, I caught the Panzer Paladin machine at the mall in the mall level. I don't know if anyone else saw that, but I saw that.
Did you break it?
Yeah, of course I broke it. You got to break the arcade machines. Yeah. These are like the hardest games for me to talk about are the games that are the best, right? Because it's so hard to criticize. Not that you need to criticize everything to talk about it, but it's so uniformly excellent. That's why it's hard for me to talk about, like, I don't know, Super Mario Odyssey. What can you say? It's the best. Like, guys, what can we say about this? It's the best, Kevin.
I had the exact same thought. I really like the game. I don't really know how to articulate why. I think, and my expectations were high. I expected it to still have like a slight bit of jank for some reason, and that's not there. It's super polished, and it also really captures that kind of whimsical, 90s Turtles feel.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm going off of what Kevin said. I think the art direction of the game is incredible, and I'm a sucker of when a beat 'em up can tell a story through the backdrops and things. So yeah, I liked how just little things like how the Foot Clan all had jobs and levels, like in the beginning, like they all just took over the jobs at the TV station.
I love that stuff.
They're all typing shit. Later on in the game, you find the one that they're all working concessions at the carnival, and there were the couple that were barkers for the games.
I love that they made them do jobs. I like in the mall. Isn't one of them at the fake Orange Julius or something?
Yep.
Or like, yeah.
And I haven't bought a TMNT figure in years, but Bebop's is clearly living his best life as a TV personality and a TV chef, and I kind of want figures of both of those things. He's standing there in the suit in the bunch of places in level 1, like trying to pose to make the ransom video or whatever they're doing for that, and it's like
man, they did their homework. It doesn't even feel like the old game. I mean, it does. Obviously, they're based off of them, like the old beat 'em ups, but it does such its own thing. They could have just done that straight up arcade, really like punishing super hard thing. They really wanted you to beat this game. You know what I mean? Obviously, this isn't designed for you to pump quarters into anymore, so it doesn't need to be that way. But how do you do that while also still providing a challenge? And that's always been the problem of the beat 'em up at home, because it's like, you don't want people to just get through it in like 30 minutes and just keep continuing. You also want to provide that challenge, but you also don't want to be super easy. So, but they hit upon that better than, look, we're in an age of beat 'em ups that is just unprecedented, whether it's Ninja Saviors, Return of the Warriors, Streets of Rage 4. We have seen these revivals lately that have just been so good. It's because people figured out beat 'em ups. That's probably the best thing that the indie space has figured out. They haven't figured out shmups. They haven't figured out a lot of other stuff. They got this, and I'm glad they did, because man, it's excellent. One thing I thought was really funny, if you guys noticed that, I thought it was funny that it said like the levels said like streets of New York and like sewers of New York. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like, but then it's like, why didn't they just call Central Park like Park of New York or something? It's like, they should have just kept doing that. Well, Skyline of New York.
I think they were trying to do like what older TV shows did, where, each level was like an episode. And they even did the little theme song ditty at the beginning of those. Like, okay, I get it, but yes, there were a lot of blanks of New York.
Yeah,
I feel like that. I feel like they could have workshopped some more names.
It was just funny. I mean, obviously, it's not a complaint. It's just something I noticed that was funny. Okay, I think Kevin might. You like Turtles in Time the best, right? You might agree with me.
I definitely like Turtles in Time the best.
Okay. The way you throw the foot, they brought back the throw the foot soldier at the screen in this game.
Right.
But I don't know. There's something about the way the arcade game scales the foot soldier is like perfect. This game doesn't get it quite right. It's better than the SNES version of Turtles in Time, but it's not like quite the same, you know?
I think it's too clean.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe, but it doesn't scale in as much.
I don't know. I didn't notice it. As soon as I seen it in live action, I thought it was great. Maybe you're right.
Great.
But...
No, it's still fun, but I know what Andre's talking about. It just feels like, yes, I think they, know how to animate it, but there's something about the way it looks when you have to scale the sprite to do it.
It needs some motion blur or something with it.
Yes.
Yeah, it needs to go into the screen where the foot soldier needs to be bigger, like it's about to splat against the screen and like slide down like something cartoony or something. Yeah, they're all here. Everyone is here. Wingnut is here. Slash is here. Leatherhead is here. The Rat King is here. My favorite villain, the Rat King. I don't know why that's my favorite villain, but it is. Would you have pegged me for a Rat King guy? But I am.
I don't know what you guys did, but I broke the mold and played a Splinter on my run. I just found it funny when I was getting to Rat King and he got swarmed by rats. He's like, get this fucking thing off of me when the rats are climbing on you and you're trying to shake them off.
I like that you have the rated M version of Shredder's Revenge where Shredder says, or King Splinter says fuck. Well, the Rat King probably says fuck. This is again, we're just like nitpicking here because this game is so hard to criticize, but like, I thought it was weird that they reprised Bebop and Rocksteady on the rooftop level. Like, again, that was probably one too many. I mean, I don't know if they could have they ran out of villains to use or something, but like, okay, I guess we're fighting them again. It's fine, but like.
I played on the harder difficulty and I found that they do like this team move after a few 1 minutes, but most of those, even still, you don't usually last too long when if you're semi beat 'em up savvy. And that's, although one weird thing I found, well, the I don't know what you'd call it, the level 3 boss, you fight in the tank that Bebop and Rocksteady are driving away in while you're surfing, sky surfing or whatever you're doing there. There's like a weird difficulty curve on the highest level that one takes, and I needed to find help online to finish that, which is strange because it spikes there, and I was able to clear the rest of the game myself on the higher difficulty without too much trouble. I just found that strange.
That is weird. I haven't tried any high difficulty. It's not usually how I play beat 'em ups for some reason. It doesn't really, even like Ninja Saviors and stuff I really like. I don't know. Baxter Stockman is is there some sort of like other depiction of him in like recent cartoons or something that I'm not aware of? Because that was kind of weird. It was like a weird child almost, instead of like I don't know. It's like the 2003 Turtles depict him that way, or like, I don't know what that was.
I am not super familiar with anything. Even 2003 is murky, but the other ones get weird on me too, which I know less and less as time goes on, but which I find weird because it's clear that they took most of the inspiration from the 90s.
Yeah.
For even with all the blanks of New York, it's clear that this is 90s New York and not
Big Apple 3 p.m., right? I mean, clearly they were doing a thing, yeah.
This is clearly 90s New York and not gentrified 2020 New York.
What the hell does that have to do with Baxter Stockman being a weird child? I mean, I hear your point. I'm
just saying, I don't know what interpretation they used. If someone knows what episode he became a weird child, let us know.
Okay. I wasn't completing that loop in my head for some reason. Yo, I don't know how to talk about the music here again. They got T. Lopes in on this to do the whole thing. Guys, unbelievable, incredible, superlative, every superlative I can say. I'm in awe. Again, it's so hard to talk about because it's so 100% excellent. Like, every song is a fucking banger. Every single one knocks it out of the park. I don't know. Look, he's the perfect guy to do something like this. Also, I should note, the guy, I'm sorry I don't remember his name. The guy who usually does all the music for tribute games sort of obviously stepped aside here for T. Lopes. He was still listed there as like audio designer So maybe he did something on this game. I don't know what. I mean, like he's excellent. He's part of the Tribute Games experience, but
Video games are a collaborative effort.
I don't know what he did in this capacity, but it's very clear that like T. Lopes took it over, guys. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you agree. This is like
I wasn't expecting it to rock as hard as it did. You're the music guy. I can't get into why it's so great, but I just wasn't expecting level after level of it just sound as great as it did.
I mean, we had like lyrics from actual rappers like Raekwon, and like I mean, it's just the music prowess here is incredible. I was expecting more cheesy shit like what's that song we like from Windjammers 2? Dance while I put you in a trance. You remember that shit? Come on, girl, I'm gonna rock you, baby. I was just expecting shit like that. I wasn't expecting like real hip hop and stuff. It blew my mind.
And thematically, everything fits very well.
Oh yeah, the lyrics are about the stage here. That's true. Like, man, incredible, guys. I don't know what else to say. You guys, I mean,
I know Kevin didn't finish the game yet, but can we just? I do. I know. I'm voice actor guy. I do appreciate that they got as much of the old voice cast as they could for this, even if people like Rob Paulson clearly can't quite sound like Raphael anymore. But just the end. Did you appreciate like how much they leaned into the cheese at the end?
Yeah, it's perfect.
But not only just the ultimate plan of it all coming together, but then you beat Shredder's like, no, you ruined my revenge.
Yes, so good.
Okay,
so good.
They said the name.
I just like that. Like pretty much the whole game centered around my favorite thing in like a cartoon / comic book ever, Krang's fat suit. Like you got the legs running around, you have the head, like whatever. It's incredible. That thing is the absolute best. Like I love that the whole game is about that, basically. It's much better than the walker, right? When he shows up in the little like brain walker, I was always disappointed. You have to be in the fat
brain
suit.
walker's pretty cool.
It's not bad.
I'm purposely leaving out what they're building up to so Kevin can find it for himself.
Okay. It's just, I mean, look, you know what? I remember being not pissed because I was a child, but like I remember being disappointed when I was a kid because I asked my mom for a Krang figure for like a birthday or Christmas or something, and I got it, but it was just the brain and the walker. I wanted the fat suit. This fat suit was like separate. So I just had the walker. So I was like, okay, fine. I guess. I mean, I still thought it was cool, but you know what I want. Anyway, guys, I got nothing. You got anything more on this game? Because
You touched on the difficulty, and I don't think it can be stated enough how well they nailed that, because I've been playing it with my kid in 2-player mode, so that story mode is perfect. It's not just effortless fly through it, but we don't have that constant threat of, if somebody's not pulling their weight, start the whole game over. But the arcade mode is still there if you want it, so I think it caters well to everybody. But for a situation like that, playing it with an 8-year-old kid, it works excellently.
Yeah, I recommend people play the story mode first anyway, because then you can jump in, like you learn the game and all the mechanics, and then you can jump into the difficulty that you like. I feel like that's the best way to do it. And
the overworld map is pretty fucking cool.
Oh, it's great. It's really great.
Well, find my VHS tapes.
They could have just I'm surprised they didn't go, oh, I lost my pogs. Like they should have just like went completely.
Not my beta.
Well, by the 90s we were not having beta.
I figure with that voice he might have.
My kid has now adopted Holy Guacamole.
Oh my god. All right. Turtles, excellent. I'm sure anyone listening to this is already interested or have bought it. Kevin, though, you got one more thing before break.
I'm surprised you guys are even giving me a platform.
No. You put it in the notes. And now because you put it in the notes, Kevin, you have to say it and shame yourself.
You need to admit to this.
All right. Okay, so when I was cleaning out the 3DS eShop before they took away credit card support a few weeks ago, I saw Nintendo Badge Arcade sitting there, and I'd never downloaded it, so I downloaded it, and I started fucking around with it, and then, so I already had all my shit set up in folders, and I've got, like, the Game Boy folder and the NES folder from the Ambassador games, And then I got like, I think the Game Boy icon first, and then I put it on the folder. And then I really wanted to like separate out the Game Boy Color with the Game Boy Color icon. Long story short, I've been playing Nintendo Badge Arcade for the free plays, probably most days for the last like 2 to 3 weeks. And hot news, I this is where I really shouldn't admit this. So I had all the Game Boys lined up. I had the DS icon for all of the like the downloaded eShop games. I had Link for all my Zelda games in the folder, but I have the NES folder. Now all of the icons are all like Japanese. You can get 64 DD. You can't get NES or anything, but you can get the Famicom controller. So I wanted the Famicom controller for my NES games, and I did my 2 free plays, and I didn't get it. And so I turned on my Switch and I added $10 to my account. Then I went through the process to merge my Switch eShop and my 3DS/Wii U eShop funds. And I spent my $1.49 or whatever. And I actually put money into the Badge Arcade so I could get the fucking stupid Famicom controller. So that's my contribution to the show this week.
Kevin, I will give you some small solidarity in that. I also indulged in marking my NES folder with a Famicom controller and Super NES with a Super NES controller and Game Boy and so on. Back in 2015 and 2016 when this was relevant.
I know. You know what? My 3DS...
Kevin? I made do with the free plays they gave out back when.
I know.
Y'all are so starved for content. Oh my god!
When are they gonna shut down the servers for this? And then I'm gonna have all the Game Boy icons. So I'm not gonna have the fucking Famicom controller icon. And like, other than that, my home menu looks so cool, and it felt real. I had the Famicom cartridge on that, and it just looked stupid.
What a sad era of games. It's so
pulled
fucking pathetic.
Out my credit card.
Oh my god. I need to recover from this. We need to take a break. Goodbye. Not goodbye. Just stick around, guys. Alrighty, we are back once again. I have a question though for Steve before we get to the big questions. I have a big question for Steve. How about that Stand By Me at the end of Final Fantasy 15?
How can I fucking forget about bringing that up?
Did you groan? I have to know, because even I was like, you know what, man?
It was a good cover, but it was a little on the nose.
It was a little something, all right. Anyway, I had to ask.
How did I leave that out? I guess I got wrapped up in the other conversation.
No, it's better this way. It's better this way.
I'm worried about people wearing hats in the sun.
Yeah.
It's okay. Never mind.
Okay.
You come to my house in the middle of summer with your black trench coat and your black fedora, and we'll see how long you last at the barbecue.
He's not a Final Fantasy villain, as far as we know. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. Anyway, so first big question, the thing on everyone's mind, of course, is Murph, the new mascot for Nerf. Has everyone seen this? Because it's frightening.
I wish I haven't.
It looks like a koosh ball. Everyone remember koosh balls? It looks like a koosh ball, but turned into a man. Like it's 2 koosh balls for testicles, and the rest of them grew from that. It is unbelievably frightening. I have a number of proposals to take care of this. Should we kill it? Should we burn it? Should we legislate against its rights as a being? What should we do to this thing?
I trust no corporate mascot I can't look in the eye. We burn it in a cleansing fire.
Kevin, what do you propose here? This is very serious stuff.
I had a comment penciled in to fuck it, but then I decided that was a little bit heavy-handed for this show.
We all know Kevin's got secret cousin at fanfics, erotic cousin at fanfics sitting in the back there.
You know what bothers me more than anything isn't the way it looks, but the fact that they named it Murph, because I feel like Murph makes it like 3 times creepier.
I guess so.
I don't know. Could you?
I think they were looking for something that rhymes with Nerf, and that's what they got.
Murph sounds like the guy that shows up at like 12:30 banging on the doorstep on Tuesday night wanting to drink beer with your dad.
Yeah, I know. Oh, you know old Murph. He can, let him in.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
yeah. Uncle Murph's here.
You're right,
Dressed in his fucking koosh ball outfit. Fuck off, Murph.
It's like, here's a couple koosh balls, kids. I'm glad you guys remember koosh balls. I didn't know if they were still popular, but
how can you forget what's still being manufactured to this day?
I have no idea what the kids do, man. I just know that they were a big deal when I was a child. I just hope. I'm glad the kids still play with the koosh balls. All right,
hey, my niece is about the right age. She'll be getting some for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully Murph won't be on the case though.
Yeah, hopefully we have done away with Murph by then. We have legislated Murph to somewhere else, another planet. So, Steve, big question,
guys. It's unofficial, not absolutely official, but reliable leaker has pretty much found out that Nintendo's worked on a sequel to 1-2 Switch. Remember the Switch launch game that Nintendo made that wasn't Breath of the Wild? So they're going to make another one. Who thought we needed another one?
This is interesting just because, a launch game versus where Switch sales are at now, has become such a big success. I remember in the first month looking at the sales of the games for Switch, the few that were out, Breath of the Wild. Remember Breath of the Wild sold more units than there was Switches sold just because people were buying the game. Yeah. And then 1-2 Switch sold 89K, which is okay, that's actually lower than I thought it would. It didn't seem like anyone was interested, but then it went on to sell 3 million copies. People kept buying it as people got Switches, you know what I mean? So it became a success. I feel like they could hit an evergreen success with 1-2 Switch 2 or whatever it might be called. But I don't know. Why don't they just repackage the original game somehow? I don't know. It seems weird to develop a sequel to this, I guess.
Maybe they were working on DLC for the cow milking simulator and it just got so fleshed out they decided to turn it into its own game.
I like that every outfit that reported on this used the cow, the guy milking the cow, the guy, the farmer looking dude, that everybody used that. That's the one thing people remember. Yeah, that guy.
Which is weird because my brain always defaults to the ice cubes, even though I lost my shit when they showed off Wild Gunman and I should have been excited about that. As a longtime light gun person fan, just the long detailed explanation of you can feel the ice cubes dropping into the cup. Plink, plink, plink. I'm like,
now,
okay.
Was that a 1-2 Switch thing? Because I just thought that was just part of the Switch showcase.
It might. I don't know anymore. It's all a blur. One day when we.
You guys have never played 1-2 Switch, have you? I'm just now realizing.
I have not.
Why would I?
Oh my god! No, that was part of the fucking presentation. You're ruining fine time. No, that is not a game. That is not a game in 1-2 Switch. Also, did you just call Quick Draw Wild Gunman? Did you just do that?
It's clearly what they were going for.
Oh my god, what the hell's happening?
I did not expect 1-2 Switch to be the thing that broke apart this threesome.
Yeah, this is over. Fuck this. Run the music. Okay, we're back. Just kidding, guys. Sorry.
Although with a game this disjointed and unmemorable, it's not a surprise, guys, that internally this isn't working out so well, apparently. So there's speculation going around that maybe this is going to be a freebie for Nintendo Switch Premium people.
I don't buy that. I don't really buy that line of thinking. That doesn't seem like something they would do. It doesn't feel like they give away a product. It feels more like they would just put this out for $40 and let the chips fall where they may versus I don't know. Then again, I never thought Mario Kart 8 DLC would be free, right? So I don't know. Kevin, do you see that just putting them out there?
I don't think it's completely out of left field, but I also think that the people that are subscribing to Nintendo Switch Online are going to be more of like the quote unquote Nintendo fans, and I think that 1-2-Switch is specifically like appealing to that casual audience that's probably not signing up for Nintendo Switch Online as much. So that's just where it feels a little disjointed to me.
Okay.
Hey, Andre.
Huh?
Let's flip this back the other way. You played 1-2-Switch?
I mean, okay.
No. Don't flip flop around, Andre. Did you play 1-2-Switch?
Sort of. If you want to call playing fake draw playing 1-2-Switch, I don't know if you guys know what that game is. It's like the quick draw, what he just called Wild Gunman for some reason, and like you have to hear the word fire to fire. If you do it before that, you'll be disqualified. But they'll say other F words, like fail, file, free, fire, and then you have to wait for fire and then fire. It's fun. I don't know. So I played fake draw. That's about it. I would not say that I played 1-2-Switch.
He really deflected. You're like a politician. I'm surprised you didn't tell him you weren't going to raise taxes when he asked you.
Well, I'm not. I'm not going to raise taxes,
Andre. And I also have to bring up that until you got to the F words, you were also describing Wild Gunman.
Let's move on. I'm having a gamer moment right now. I'm very upset. I might say some things I don't regret. I will regret. So during the menagerie of stuff that happened with the game presentations a few weeks ago, one of them was Capcom Arcade Second Stadium, something we've known about for a long time because the Koreans rating board leaked it. But the game list was revealed, and it's a bunch of bullshit. There is an incredible amount of overlap between this collection and Capcom Fighting Collection, which just came out last week. I'm not going to talk about it this time, but I will soon. 7 of the 10 games that are on that Capcom Fighting Game Collection are also in Second Stadium. Now, Second Stadium doesn't have online play. Capcom Fighting Collection does. I don't really care about online play. So whatever, I still got Capcom Fighting Collection, but it's just like, what are they doing? This Capcom Second Stadium also has all 3 Street Fighter alphas, which sort of cannibalizes like the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, which already came out. It also has Knights of the Round and King of Dragons, which is already on Capcom Beat 'em Up Collection. There is so much here that they just did over again. And look, of course, on the first Capcom Arcade Stadium, you do have some overlap with some stuff. I mean, they do have Powered Gear and like some other stuff that is on other collections and Street Fighters, but not like this. This feels shitty. Like, honestly, this is the first time they came out with a collection where I'm like, I don't like this. Steve, did you have the same reaction?
Pretty much. I mean, this was supposed to be DLC for the collection. They announced a while, like earlier in the year or late last year, that, hey, more games are coming to the Capcom Arcade Stadium, so keep an eye out. And then we were kind of left hanging until this dropped, but without a full list of games. And then we got the full list of games, and now here we are going, what are y'all doing?
I already kind of felt that the Capcom Fighting Collection was a little weird because they have Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, which is not a fighting game, but whatever. Like, that's already there. They could have actually put in a different fighting game. It's clear they don't want to do the 3D stuff. Or we would have had a Rival Schools, a Star Gladiator, or whatever. Maybe that's the next frontier, a Street Fighter EX. But like, fine. I can 9 out of 10 ain't bad, right? But Red Earth and Pocket Fighter are the ones that are only on the Fighting Collection. So I feel like, I don't know. I feel obligated to get it because Red Earth has never been released in any capacity. And like Pocket Fighter is like so rare. I don't know, man. This is like the only time they put out something where I feel bilked for my money. It sucks. The only saving grace is that you can buy the games on Capcom Arcade Stadium individually. So I guess I can just go through there and just buy the ones that but still, that sucks.
See, unlike Andre, I am into online play for these, so I'm looking at Fighting Collection too. But see, that was a feature that came that wasn't in the first release schedule of Capcom Arcade's game. There were like a few specified downloads or whatever at first, but then everything became available for download, and they even went on sale after a while for a brief period. So I think that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to get Capcom Fighting Collection, and then I'm going to wait for things I want from the handful of things I do want from this second set to hit that half price point.
Kevin's getting them all, right? You're just downloading away.
Yes, I agree with everything you guys have both said.
Kevin, you did take the opportunity to download Street Fighter II: The World Warrior for free the other week, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Hey, you did get Strider though to have reference for Strider 14.
I did. I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Anyway,
and I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah, it's just, oh my god, mind blowing. Anyway, yeah, man, it sucks, but I guess I'll just buy the games individually. Thank God we can do that, because fuck. So, also something that I put off from last time that I wanted to get into more this time, especially since now the beta is live as of this recording, is Overwatch 2. They had the reveal at the Xbox and Bethesda thing October 4th, coming out October 4th, free to play, no more loot boxes, battle passes, premium currency, a new season every 9 weeks, featuring either like a new map, a new mode, or a new character, or a combination of those things. And then the PvE portion that they've been promising since forever will come out next year, 2023. But the biggest, I don't want to say the biggest news, but maybe the oddest, is that Overwatch as we know it will cease to exist and become Overwatch 2 on that October 4th. This was apparent to me when I loaded up the PlayStation app like soon after their reveal event, and like my Overwatch icon on the app just said Overwatch 2, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? They had already delisted the original game, and if you buy the Overwatch 2 Watch Point pack, which is like it guarantees you access to the beta and you get a bunch of goodies on October 4th when the game comes out, that will also give you access to the digital version of Overwatch. So that's the only way to buy the game now, is if you buy that Overwatch 2 Watch Point pack. But I figure anyone who's interested already has the game. I mean, it's been 6 years, right? So, guys, this is something. Like, what the hell are we to make of this? This feels like a weird trend, maybe? Or I guess that's the question. Do you think this is a trend? This is the way things are going. Will Apex Legends become, quote unquote, Apex Legends 2? Will Fall Guys become Fall Guys 2? Is that what we're doing? Or is this just something unique to Overwatch, Steve?
I think this is something we have already been unofficially doing with games already, to be honest. I mean, you look at, okay, Andre's jokes about what's a Wii U aside. We all, all of us that did enjoy a Wii U in 2015, we all played the fuck out of Splatoon. But once Splatoon 2 came out, no one really gave a fuck about Splatoon 1 anymore. And in a more relevant to what Andre has seen, he doesn't play these, but he on consoles he would know about Monster Hunter. Once the new one comes out, your community usually mostly moves over to the next game. No one's usually looking at the older games anymore because there's a time limit on these things, and sometimes the servers just get shut down anyway when they know it's coming. If anything, and it just feels like Blizzard's taking that extra step to do it for you anyway. And I just got a tiny ass question to throw in for this. Wouldn't I've only played a little bit of Overwatch myself. Long reason why I don't have a copy right now. But wouldn't people who spent all this time playing Overwatch be thrilled that Overwatch is becoming Overwatch 2 and they don't have to necessarily start from scratch? Because I know Splatoon 3 is coming out soon, and I'm not necessarily looking forward to having to get all my shit back.
We were app shoppers, though. We bought all them shoes and headphones and stuff. Like not all the people use that Nintendo app, but I'm sure I think.
Oh, I fucking did, and I'm not.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It'd be great if I could transfer my wardrobe and shit over, but I don't think I can. Don't you think all of you? Aren't you Overwatch people thrilled that you're gonna just continue where you left off?
Yes, it's fine with me. I don't mind that the original game is going away. The only thing I personally am not thrilled about, but this is about Overwatch 2 in general and not the first game going away necessarily, is that there's no more assault. If you guys played the game enough to know what assault is, also known as 2-point capture, capture point A, capture point B, win.
Oh, that's gone already. That's gone outright.
That's gone out of Overwatch 2. They said that a long time ago.
Oh.
In fact, in the current live game of Overwatch, Horizon Lunar Colony, I always call it Horizon Zero Dawn, and Paris, those are two assault maps. Those have been out of the game since March. So they're already doing away with assault. It's very divisive in the community, I guess. I don't really talk to other Overwatch people. I usually just play with Vin and some other friends of ours. Like, we like assault. I don't know. We've never had a problem with it. I like it. I'm going to miss it. So whatever. Maybe they'll bring it back in some other capacity. Who knows? But
are they coming back, or
I don't know. They have not said. It doesn't seem like that's something that is on their mind. So probably not. I don't know. I'm going to miss Hanamura and Volskaya Industries. And I don't know. I like Anubis. I like Assault. Whatever. Kevin, you probably played even less Overwatch than us, but like, what do you just think of this like the original game just becoming another thing?
I was more, I guess just separating out, phasing out the first game. I was a little bit more surprised that they're shifting this to free to play. Now I'm very out of my element here, so feel free to educate me. But I always kind of thought that industry move towards pushing all of these first person shooters towards free to play was because all the big boys were sitting on top of the hill, eating everybody's lunch. You know, Overwatch sitting probably at the peak of that hill. Mm-hmm. You know, when Call of Duty did it, it seemed to me it's, you know, that they can't keep up with some of these new first person shooters that everybody's moving towards. I wouldn't have guessed that Overwatch 2 would have went free to play, because I feel like they could have sold a lot of units on brand recognition. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, you know, they can make a lot of money out of the gate by doing free to play, but and personally from the outside looking in, it does feel like it slightly like cheapens that property in an intangible way. Is there, like, do you guys have a good reasoning as to why they would have done this when they were, you know, the Overwatch is still the apex of first person shooters as far as, you know, in the last 5 years, I would say.
I think they just didn't want to split the audience. I think that's what that's what they said in interviews anyway. Who knows what the real, you know, deal is, but I think they just didn't want to split the audience. People want to play Overwatch. Oh, you got to buy Overwatch 2. I think they just wanted everyone to come along. And since, like, from something that confused me and Ven from the beginning is that when Jeff Kaplan, but he's no longer there. He's no longer at Blizzard, but before he left, he was saying about Overwatch 2, oh, you can still play with Overwatch 1 players, and like this crossover and these modes will still be available. And we were really confused about that. It's like, what the hell does that mean? And I think something happened along the way where it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Let's just have everyone play the same game under the guise of a sequel. You know, so I think
that does make sense.
You know, yeah, but unless you have that, like, nobody remembers him saying that now, but we did, and we were always confused. Like, how are they going to play? Imagine if, like, Nintendo said, "Oh, you can still play with Splatoon 2 people," and like blah blah blah. It's like, well, what the fuck is the point of a sequel then, right? Mm. This makes a lot more sense now. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm not going to get too deep into the beta stuff right now. I don't want to bore you guys to death, but like, I've been having fun the last 16 hours playing it since it's been up. The new heroes, haven't gotten to try a lot of them. Sojourn is amazing. Probably gonna be my new favorite damage hero. That's how cool I think she is. She's like a black cybernetic Canadian lady. It's weird. I don't know what's going on there, but it's
sounds like they're cool. Getting a lot of their color wheel.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder. I was actually thinking about that cynically about their diversity wheel or whatever came out about them. It's like cyber. Black Canada. We don't have anyone from Canada yet. Canada, literally, her. Well, I mean, like the there is a map now in Toronto for the new push mode. It's literally like it starts in a curling arena. Like it's literally, and it says like Toronto Badger Curling Club or something like that. It's like, what the fuck?
Finally, representation for my people.
Oh man, yeah. Basically, that's what you get. You get Sojourn, the cybernetic lady, and a
curling club.
I like curling. Fuck it, I don't give a shit. I wish we had a Major League Curling or something. I would watch that shit.
I've been to the top Canadian Bonspiel before, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Sports keener over here.
All right. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I hope you guys, I mean, look, it's free. Come play Overwatch with me. I don't have to beg anymore.
Free is how you're going to get me to pay attention with Splatoon coming in September.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so Kevin, we had this Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary celebration, of which I felt good about from the beginning. I knew this was going to be meaty, and boy, it was meaty. I want to chew on this stuff. So why don't you lead us?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I don't know if it was good as the Final Fantasy V 25th anniversary celebration a few years ago, and I'm sure the Final Fantasy VIII 25th anniversary celebration is going to blow it out of the water with all sorts of interesting little pocket games.
Listen, it was better. It was better than the second Sonic Central, and that's all. That was the only bar it needed to clear for me. So.
I quite honestly forgot there was a first one until you mentioned it last episode. So whatever. Anyway.
So they start. It didn't even make the show notes. What is the mobile game that you did the beta for?
Oh, I'm still playing it. It's the first soldier.
First soldier. Yeah,
I'm still playing it. It's up to season 3.
Is that going strong now? It looked pretty interesting when they showed off.
Yeah, they
footage.
are leaning into it. It is pretty slick.
Okay,
I kind of wish it would come on to. I keep waiting for one of these directs or presentations to say, and it's now on consoles, but they don't do it.
Is it console worthy?
I mean, we have Fortnite on everything, and I think it's better than that.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. I don't want to derail us too far, because following that was the biggest news of the evening: a fucking Buster Sword clock for $200, which was outrageous to me.
Geez.
Again, that also didn't make the show notes, but this is what I've wanted to talk about tonight more than anything.
He has been going on about this for a while now, and I keep saying to him, it's $200 because people will pay $200, man.
Okay, that's, you know what? If it was a statue, just a simple statue of the Buster Sword, and it was just for the novelty and it was $200, I would not do that, but I get the concept. But a fucking alarm clock? Like, do you people not have phones? Like...
Look, man, I don't know what it would take. I don't know what it would be, right? I could, if someone came up with a very specialized alarm clock that perfectly pertained to me for $200, I would consider it. I'm not saying I would definitely buy something like that.
Would you buy a fucking Tifa branded pager? Like, I mean...
Andrew, $250 alarm clock and a Dogi Bust alarm clock.
No, I'm not buying a $250 a Dogi. No way.
What if it was on sale for $200?
Oh my god, no, not Dogi. You could maybe talk me into something from Ease. It's not that.
Don't you guys start telling anybody you would spend this kind of money on an alarm clock. It's stupid. Come on. Stay with my point here.
Move on.
All right, let's move on. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis after that. What is going on with this game? Does anybody have a good concept of what this actually is?
I thought I did, but...
I was completely baffled by this. So... my first instinct was like Final Fantasy VII like remake pocket edition, right? Like we have Final Fantasy 15, but that's not what this is. It appears to be a mobile game based largely off of the original Final Fantasy VII graphics, but it does not depict the events of remake at all, right? So what the hell is this?
Last year when they were doing Final Fantasy VII stuff trailers, they showed this off and they're like, we're doing this is going to cover all the stories of Final Fantasy VII over the years, which gets weird when you consider the other thing they announced.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But it's just like this completely threw me off base. Like I don't know. This was weird. I think it would actually be cool if they did the events of remake in Final Fantasy VII original graphics or something like that. I actually think that would be appealing.
I think the art actually looks slick.
But isn't that Final Fantasy VII?
No, Kevin. No, Kevin. We do a few different things, as you know. But no, I actually think it'd be interesting. But that's not what this is. So I don't know. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what the next thing is either because I've literally never laid eyes on it. I know it.
You're the only one here that had a PSP and when it was relevant.
Yeah, I never played it either. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, and you had an interesting point as far as this might be give a little insight as to exclusivity.
No, I was just saying. I saw the trailer and guys, this is coming out on everything, even Switch and Xbox right out the gate, and not Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion Cloud Edition. Like we can pre-order this and it's coming out on Switch natively. So, you think Sony's losing their grip on these exclusivity deals, or you think they just don't give a fuck?
They've had Crisis Core to themselves since 2008, 9? I remember it was pretty new when I got a PSP, so which was pretty late 2000s. I've never played it. I've never laid eyes on it. I don't even know what kind of game it is. Honestly, is it an action game? I really don't know. I'm dead serious. So, like, I guess I'll find out now.
I mean, it looks good.
It sure as hell doesn't look like a PSP game anymore because, like, I don't know if you guys played Final Fantasy Type 0. That looked like a PSP game. So, like, I mean, you know, I don't know. I guess I'll have to finally play Crisis Core.
I may be misremembering, but I thought when Final Fantasy VII Remake first came out that Sony was only supposed to have 1 year exclusivity for that, and obviously that hasn't come out on Xbox or anything else since then. Is Sony just keep shoveling money to keep
I
that?
Thought for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought for sure because even I could have sworn on the back of the box it said
Right.
for at least 1 year, and I figured for sure as soon as that 1 year lapsed, Microsoft had a switch where it said, and now it's on Game Pass for the next 3 months. I figured that was going to happen.
Yeah, it'd be
for
interesting
sure
to find out what was going on behind the scenes on that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
And speaking of Final Fantasy VII Remake, we finally got a peek at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the sequel, and they did confirm that this will be the second of 3 parts. I could have sworn that they had said this a couple years ago around the time that the remake launched, or was that just what we were assuming at the time?
We just widely assumed. It was never actually said because everybody assumed that, right? Because that's what all my other friends were like. Yeah, I thought we already knew. That's like, no, I think we just assumed that, and we were right to assume that because that's the only thing that makes sense, right? Because like you can't 2 parts doesn't seem correct anymore, knowing what we know now, and 4 probably seems too much. You know what I mean? 3
really,
is probably
I think
the only
you need one
option
whole
we
game
have.
to spend wasting time in the gold saucer.
I mean, that would be fine with me. That would be okay with me. However,
you know, the second best part of Final Fantasy VII.
Imagine like 75 gigs worth of golden saucer graphics. Like,
yes.
Oh boy,
that sounds seizure inducing. So here's what really bothered. I watched this trailer before I watched the rest of the celebration, and they come out and they say coming next winter. What the fuck does next winter mean? So, I mean, okay, we could say the coming winter is this winter, but it is also the next winter.
Yes.
So I found that very confusing because then you go back and watch the Crisis Core announcement and they say that's coming this winter. So through my excellent resources of deduction, I realized that this is meaning Final Fantasy VII is coming winter 2023/2024, which made me a little bit sad.
Yeah.
Kevin, before we proceed, I need to point out that this is the most Canadian kind of observation we can possibly make on this podcast. But which winter is it? Is it this winter or the next winter?
I think it's obviously means winter 23 going into 24, but like I am what that means for Final Fantasy 16, it's got to come out in the summer. Then it has to. They cannot miss now because they cannot have those games that close together, right?
They did say that much at
agree.
the State of Play, that summer 23. So, yeah, what you said, they can't miss.
What's going to...
I didn't say next summer.
Keep this in mind, Kevin, for our next Place Your Bets or whatever. What's going to sell more, Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth?
Oh, the 16's got to sell more by a mile, doesn't it?
See, I don't know.
We gotta...
Okay, let's
sit
on that for a little bit.
We gotta 2 more days until this set of
Place Your
bets.
Bets is coming up next episode.
Oh, okay. All right. So we might have to have those on the books.
Q3.
Those are very few far futures, but okay. So in addition to this, a couple days later, in addition to this Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary stream, I mean, we had a Final Fantasy 16 sort of info dump around every website in the universe. It feels like Yoshi P went to every website and told them a little bit of information, and then we had to like round it up.
my algorithm is borked from trying to research this shit.
Let's zip through a bunch of these real fast. Lightning round.
Guys, the Idoloons are called icons this time. You know, the summons. And they're going to be a big deal, in case you didn't notice. They're like weapons of mass destruction, man. Their words, not mine. Why would you fucking say that in an interview?
Because it's, I don't know, too soon for WMDs. Too soon.
like we can. It's in the. There's two of them fighting in the logo art. We know to really drive the point home. Like, come on, we know
it's salacious.
It is a salacious phrase. I do get it. Masayashi Soken is back on music. He does pretty much all the music for Final Fantasy 14 as it is. He works with director Yoshida. I'm sorry, I always call him Yoshi P. I forget. He works with him together, so I guess he wanted his guy back with him since he's doing Final Fantasy 16. I kind of wish they had retained Yoko Shimomura, because I think Final Fantasy 15, as you just played, Steve, is excellent music. Some of her best work, honestly. So I kind of wish this is a different tone, whatever, fine. Soken, you want to work with the guys that you feel comfortable with. I get it. For my money, you can't beat Yoko, but it's okay.
So, speaking of Final Fantasy 15, that open world I enjoyed, it's gone. So now there's going to be area world style. So basically what we had before, I guess, like where we start in a place, but the world gets bigger as we go along. I felt like they used a lot of words to describe it. It's like older Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, but older probably means like Final Fantasy 10 now. You know what I mean?
I guess.
We haven't had a world map in 20 years. That's not how this is going to work. Like, you know, that's not how anything works anymore, which is fine.
Yeah, I guess 12 technically didn't have a map either.
Nah. Kevin, do you need a world map to have fun? To take your clothes off?
No, I think this is fine news with me.
I also didn't think I needed party members to have fun because I thought that was the direction this was going in. But I guess we're having party members after all, and they're going to be AI controlled. Did you guys see any party members anywhere? Because
I didn't see a single one.
I mean, we all saw the singing Idoloons. Odin, he freed all of them.
Shiva. That was my favorite.
I mean, and it's clear that Clive has all this shit under control when he's doing this anyway as he goes along. What use is the party going to do? Are they going to be like, yeah, Clive, you could do it. Woo! What's the point?
I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to have the wolf dog thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be more helpful than the one I had in 15 where it's like, oh boy, here's a diary, and then she dies anyway. And then at the end it's like, woof, woof, I could take you back to the open world if you want, but no, I got to finish the story.
I thought you were going to say I could take you back to heaven for some reason. I don't know why I thought you were going to say that. I kind of wish it were solo, actually. This is something that, I mean, it's not disappointing. I do kind of wish it were a solo thing. It feels like that kind of story. I guess we'll see how it plays out, but whatever.
I mean, this is going to also be the first. It's already been rated by the ESRB, and they're going. It's M. It's an M-rated Final Fantasy game, you guys, and this isn't a mistake. They've wanted to. They're feeling like they're going to explore some really mature themes this time, and I found that to be very interesting because there was a Dragon Quest stream last year where we got to see a burning DQ-12, and we got a similar pitch with no game footage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is this where Square Enix is going? Where Whimsy is going to be left to newer IP, and the main line's just going to be hard, dark, and edgy like 2005 Hot Topic?
Oh, we're not. I don't know what.
Go to the food court for some Taco Bell.
This is the second time you said Hot Topic today. It's very disconcerting.
I worked at a mall for 4 years.
At Hot Topic?
Sears, even worse.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about your Sears days. Oh, yeah. I guess they never really do have like standalone Sears anymore. It's always at a mall. Anyway.
They're all gone anyway.
Well, yeah, they're gone. As I mentioned Final Fantasy Type 0 earlier, that was rated mature. I don't know if you guys ever played that game, but that wasn't like over the top, like, you know, them having hot, wild sex or anything. It was just like there was some dead, bloody chocobos and stuff. It was a bit disturbing, you know, like so.
How else are you gonna get fucking chocobo club sandwiches?
Yeah, they die. We eat the chocobos that die on the war battlefield.
KFC.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big drumstick. Oh my God, can you imagine? Jesus,
that's some Tomorrowland drumstick shit there.
That's like some Flintstones type shit.
And just one personal big ass question to top all this off. We trimmed this down, guys, and I'm searching these little snippets out. I felt like they were giving some of these answers out for the sake of giving answers, like, hey guys, it's action-based combat. Like, who cares? We would have figured this out on our own. And other things we would have figured out on our own. Am I missing something here? Is this how is this how the youngins like their news? Do we still like clickbait, or is it just something we just have to do we just have to take our clickbait and like it? I don't know. I'm missing something here. Am I?
We're missing E3. This is still side effects of the Rona, basically. Nobody has actually went hands-on with Final Fantasy 16. Like, that's the big deal here. They got to tell us these things because...
They could have found a more streamlined way, though, to consolidate this information and put it together in, you know, an understandable format.
Yeah, we didn't have to dig on, like, GamesBeat and like, you know, IGN gets this piece, and like the website itself of Square Enix gets this piece. It's weird.
That would have been like if we back when we got an indie game from Zen and the developer reached out to us. Like, I got told something about the gameplay. Kevin got another story about how the art design was going, and then Andre got another DM about the music, but it's like that, but some of this might be hidden behind paywall and ads and other shit that's never coming out of my email box.
Why didn't they just do a stream? Now that I think about it,
yes, this should have been a stream.
I don't think this is a generational news format thing. I think it was just lack of pre-planning.
Yeah, I think he just started blabbing to everybody, and they all got pieces. Anyway, so one last thing here. We had a Nintendo Direct, sort of. We sort of predicted last time. It's like, are we going to have a Nintendo Direct before the next time? And the answer is yes.
We had 1.5, but I'm not going to talk about the half.
And like...
Yes-ish.
Yeah, yes-ish. Yes-ish, Steve.
I mean, we had a...
yes-ish.
It's yes-ish, all right. We had a Xenoblade 3 one, which was like, okay, sure. That was fun. I'm going to buy the game anyway. You didn't need to direct me. But then they had Nintendo Drect Mini. Okay, those were fun before. Based around third-party partners. Okay, this could still be good, but...
I thought it was good. I'm going to say that up front.
Okay, I thought it was good too, but if we're going to talk about what was up front, how about 3.5 minutes of the same Monster Hunter footage we just saw at Capcom?
It felt like 3.5 hours, to be honest. It felt so long, Kevin. I couldn't wait for this to be over.
Not if you watched it after it was live and you just jumped ahead 30 seconds for a few minutes.
I
didn't feel that long at all.
Yeah. I am the Monster Hunter liker, and this is the and I am going to buy Sunbreak, but this is the second direct that they've led with Sunbreak, guys. I think we know. Anyone that wants to know knows.
I got nothing. Don't look at me that way. I know. Do not want to talk about Monster Hunter.
I don't anymore either. But and then I don't know. It's then they started off with another near note, something near Automata, the Yorha or End of Yorha edition. This would have been something I would have been jazzed about in 2018, but now it's 2022. I have a system that would run it a little better, so I'm feeling more inclined to.
A little.
Yeah.
Listen, portability is still something I'm concerned about a good chunk of the time. The PS5 does not move from the spot I stuck it at. I don't even think it would get up if I needed
You're
to move.
fucking hopeless. You're so hopeless.
Don't you so hopeless me? I'm just
You're
saying.
so hopeless.
You know,
I do think this game in specific is not going to translate well to Switch at all.
I don't think so either. But that's Steve's right though. This should have happened like 3 years ago. I don't know why this is happening now.
like they would have absolutely gotten my money in 2018. Today, no. Though Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, I don't know. This I'm not sure what I was looking at, but I think I like it. I'm storing this in my mental banks for whenever in 2023 this pops out. Did we see that the Nora situation with the magician and the gun, and was it just me that was into that?
Wash right over me.
Yeah, I guess you would have the same opinion about Super Bomberman R2. I guess that was certainly not on my what the heck are they going to show off bingo card, but there's a new 14-on-1 mode that looked like it could be neat. Am I the only one that played Bomberman R at launch? Because I felt like I needed a second game that day. And
Vin had it and it ran like shit, so I turned it off after like 2 matches. I'm like, I'm not looking at Bomberman run this way.
You would say that because, you know, when we're playing Bomberman, we got to count them frames.
I'm not playing a multiplayer game online that doesn't run. I'm not doing it. Sorry. Like, even on Nintendo fucking Switch, you can run Bomberman at 60 frames a second. You can. If you can't, I'm not paying for your product. That's all there is to it.
He was at Vin's birthday party when this happened. And he was like, Vin, this is fucking bullshit. He took the cake, he threw it on Vin's mother, and he stormed out.
60 frames, $60. That's my rule.
Fuck you and fuck your birthday. This is bullshit.
So something that might have actually made the Capcom presentation a little more interesting. Guys, they've been teasing it for a while. The Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection is coming.
Oh, baby.
They've been teasing, and they were like, just wait a little bit. We got something to say, and here it is. It's all of the games, all 10 of them. It sounds like a lot, but after 3, they started doing the Pokemon thing where they split off into different versions. So I think it's like 5 or 6 of them total, but this is going to be great. This was a big blank spot for me when these came out because you only have so much you can get to when you're in high school juggling a GameCube and a GBA, but I'm going to really dig into this when this finally comes.
I was in my very late teens, early 20s when these started coming out, and I was jobless and bored and depressed, so I put a lot of time into these because I had nothing but time, and at least the first few I kind of fell off after a while because so many games started coming out, especially when DS happened. It's like, it's over. I cannot keep up with these, especially when they started 2 and 2 versions and stuff. Not that you have to play both, but you know what I mean.
I do wonder how multiplayer is going to go, like if they'll at least be like so you can swap with your friends or even swap between the cards between saves.
I don't think so.
Are these Kevin games? I've obviously never tried them.
I think so. I think you will like these actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you should give this a shot.
It's on my maybe list for sure.
Yeah, definitely give these a shot. I say so.
The weird thing about this is that the physical version is going to be one game, but they're going to be splitting them up into 2 for the digital release. That I found odd.
That is weird.
I don't know how it's being split. They just said that's what they're doing.
I know this is a GBA collection, but there is Mega Man Network Transmission, which is quickly becoming the Mega Man and base of the Battle Network series. So, like, I hope someday that game can be re-released. I don't know if anyone remembers that for GameCube, but
is that the side-scrolling one?
Yes, loved it.
Yeah, I think someone online was talking about this. There was like some licensing issue or something weird with that.
How?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Anyway.
Something else I wasn't expecting to see, and I'm feeling kind of in the mood after listening for it after listening to Andre and Vin's episode about the Pac-Man collection, now live on wherever you listen to podcasts. Pac-Man World Repack. I only played the original for like little bits at cousins' houses or whatever, but I mean, it was, I remember it being fun back then. But the one thing I couldn't help but notice the Ms. Pac-Man erasure continues because they 3 seconds in they show the cage with Pac-Mom in there, and like, we still haven't resolved that shit with that games.
The only thing I care about being in this remake is the amazing cutscene where Pac-Man trashes that robot and then the ghost comes out and he's like crying, "Oh man, I always lose to Pac-Man." And then Pac-Man pulls a shit-eating grin on his face the whole time, pulls a power pellet out of his ass, munches on it, ghost turns blue, munches on him, still shit-eating grin on his face. That's like a horror movie, that scene. It's incredible. It's the most callous thing I've seen in a kid's game. It is incredible stuff. I hope they retain that somehow.
It's also worth noting that unlike there's no Switch tax on this one, as we're clean to point out. That clear at $30 for all versions, whether it's physical or digital. This is clearly priced to move, so they're not setting this up for sabotage. I honestly thought they were going to go like $50 and then complain, "Oh, no one bought Pac-Man World Repack, so we're not going to give you Pac-Man World 2 and 3 now, you bunch of bitches that keep asking for it." So this should be good. Okay, guys. So Dragon Quest Treasure. This was on the Dragon Quest stream last year, and honestly, I had to look at the Japanese stream just because I like to skim through those to actually kind of figure out what this was. It looks like we're going through a Monster Hunter type situation where you Monster Hunter or Pokemon Legend Arceus situation where you're looking at maps of approximately that size and we're befriending monsters temporarily to go on treasure hunts. Looks okay to me, but a demo couldn't hurt.
It just looks like Dragon Quest Monsters per usual with like a more open world aesthetic. Not that it's actually so, but it's like, I don't know. Those games never really do it for me anyway. I don't know how interested I'm going to be in this one. Maybe if it gets cheap, but it looks aight. I don't know. I don't really like the monster picking up stuff in these games. So, well, in any game, really, famously. So,
and I think my favorite one of the show, Harvestella, and that's obviously going to be, well, not obviously, but it's going to be Square Enix's Rune Factory or Action Harvest Moon or whatever you want to call it. We're going farming, we're fishing, we're crafting. It'll be fun. I think it'll be fun.
I've never played a Rune Factory. This looks like Rune Factory, but Square Enix, so I guess it's more palatable. The thing with Rune Factory is I just don't care for the art style, so I'm not really going to look at it for that long. It plays fine, but it's not really for me. The aesthetic. This looks like a lot more something I would do, but I still am not going to spend real money on it. Looks cool though.
And then guys, guess what? Persona's coming 4 years too late. Let's take a break. I'm sick of talking about this.
People
finally now everybody on the internet they can focus their attention to begging for Silksong release date.
Oh my, I think when you do that, we're in no danger of not having enough begging for Silksong.
No, we can double the efforts now, people.
Oh my god, it's just like, I don't know. I don't see myself really getting these on. Maybe Persona 3 Portable. The other, like Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5 Royal, I definitely am going to play. Isn't a PS5 version coming of Persona 5 Royal anyway? I'm definitely playing it that way. So I can have no loading times in my RPG. Hell yeah. Like, that's what I'm doing. But we'll see, I guess. We'll see.
That's the end of our segment. Let's take a break.
All right, we're back. I ate a whole pizza. I ate one whole chicken wing with the bone. I don't recommend it. It's disgusting.
Yeah, as a dog owner, trying to think of someone eating a chicken bone just scares me because it splinters, and I just hope you'll be okay, Andre.
Oh, I'll be fine. I swallowed it. I didn't chew it. I'll be fine.
I had a Chocobo Club sandwich, and it was gross.
Oh my god, how could it be gross? I'm sure it tastes like, well, turkey is gross. I was going to say it tastes like turkey, but
Well, if the feathers are
Gamey.
still on.
turkey is gross, right? Can we agree to that as a show?
I like turkey legs.
Kevin has no. Do you eat turkey
No,
up there for
I like
Canadian
turkey.
Thanksgiving?
Oh yes,
Oh, okay. Didn't know how
Canadian
it worked.
turkey.
Okay, specific. You better check the nationality of that turkey.
They're
or
very
else.
patriotic.
All right. Kind of a. I don't know. I don't want to say bull. I always call these bullshit topics, even though it's really unfair. But just things at a jumping point for things that I think are interesting. In this case, I've been thinking recently about a preview of upcoming shows. Me and Trey are back. If you listen to our Castlevania Advance Collection pod, he's back. We're going to do something on the Capcom 5, so look forward to that. But in preparation for this, there is a game of the Capcom 5. Funny that we still call it the Capcom 5, even though it was Capcom 4, that I never really got into for a variety of reasons. Actually, for one big reason, and that's Beautiful Joe. This is one of those games that I wanted to love so bad, and I just couldn't, because it presents this. Have you guys played Beautiful Joe? So,
I do, and I like the game.
I've dabbled. Although this is interesting because I remember explicitly thinking Beautiful Joe was an Andre game, and when I found out you didn't like it, I was shocked. So I'm not surprised to see it on the list.
Me too. Well, I know you don't like this game because you, but tell everyone else.
Here's the thing. So you have a very long cutscene to start, sets it all up, right? You get sucked into the movie, then the game starts, and the BGM kicks on. And these guys, you have to dodge high or low. And then you punch them in counter. Okay, fine. You do this for almost a half an hour. This first level is so long. The same song plays the whole time. You're going through like outside and into a castle and through some hallways and like jumping on chandeliers. And you're just fighting the same enemies. Dodge up and down. Eventually you get a slow-mo mechanic, which makes the whole thing even more excruciating. I'm sick of the gameplay before the first level is over. And then it's like, okay, maybe that was just that. They're trying to ease you into it. It's a little long, whatever. No, that's the whole game. You slow down time and you dodge something and you punch or kick in retaliation. It doesn't matter which one you do. There's no benefit to doing either or. You just press the buttons. It was unbelievably shallow. And some people might say, oh, it's like a beat 'em up, or like a Final Fight has more range of moves, or like the Turtles game Shredder's Revenge has like 4 times more moves than Beautiful Joe. It's shallow as a kiddie pool, as the name goes. I couldn't believe it. And it sucks because you're right, guys. It is an Andre game. The music, the characters, the super heavy cell shading, right? The voices are great, especially for the time, but even now they hold up. That gameplay, though, is so one note. I just couldn't do it. Steve, I wonder how you. I mean, did you just not? You just enjoy everything else? Was that gameplay fine with you? But I was over it before the first level was over.
I mean, yes, it's one note, but it's everything you can do with the one note. Like you stop time, and that's not just dodging things. There's the helicopter and the other things that come along with it. It's you can do a lot with the time mechanic. I guess I need to play it again, but geez, Capcom, maybe we can get a Beautiful Joe Legacy Collection so I can reevaluate these.
Man, I don't want to play these again though.
But maybe
did you ever try
I
the
do.
second?
No, I never played the second because the first was enough for me.
There's a DS one too that I bet could stand polishing up.
Guys, Kevin, the game you really wanted to like but couldn't.
Yeah, this segment's gonna make me feel dumb because that's what my consistent theme here. First of all, Pikmin. When Pikmin first came out, I really liked the aesthetic of it. I was excited about a new Nintendo franchise. Here's the weird thing about Pikmin. I feel like I can't get my head fully wrapped around it, and I can't explain why, because I understand all of the mechanics as I play through it. I know what's going on. I know how it works. I just feel like there's this intangible thing that I'm not grasping about it, and I'm not playing it right, and I find it very off-putting. I've tried a few times, as recently about a year ago. I think I told you guys I'm really going to give Pikmin the old college try this time, and it just I don't know. I don't know what I don't. It just doesn't mesh with my brain.
I'm just going to ask you, did you play all 30 days?
No. I think I played like 3 days, and then I just felt weird about it.
I thought you were going to hopefully say like 9 or 10 days. 3.
No, I put in like some work on those days. I don't know. I want to do it. I really do.
Well, the thing is that, like, what drove me crazy is at the time about the discussion of the game with people about the quote unquote time limit. Oh, you only have 30 days to beat the game. I'm running out of time. If you don't feel like you did enough on a day, just reset the game and do the day over. Then you know where the stuff is. It's not a big deal, right?
And they even made that in-game feature that you could just do that in the Wii re-release.
Yeah, you can just
roll
try
back the calendar to when you feel better about shit.
Yeah, I never understood why that was a thing with people.
It just feels vague. You know what I mean? I'm just an idiot?
I don't know. I don't think you're dumb. I just don't look. I don't
want to talk about it anymore.
Throw Pikmin to the ground.
I think this entire segment's been made to make. Hey, what are games Steve likes that we really don't? Let's piss him off. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh well, both of you like one I'm going to talk about next, but I want Steve to go next with one. The game you really wanted to like, you just couldn't do it.
Okay, so one of my choices, Valkyria Chronicles, specifically the fourth one, but I'm going to assume these all play about the same, even though they have different stories. My first exposure was in Project X Zone. It's this weird-ass turn-based strategy thing with all these crossover characters. Like, hey, here's steampunk World War I people, and they have guns and steam and shit, and okay, let's file this for later when I have something that can run these games. And then I finally got a copy, and it's a turn-based strategy game, but and we all know I love those. I like me a Fire Emblem and other such tactical whatevers, but I feel like the turns take forever. Everyone, I feel like, gets you ever. I guess Codename Steam. No one played except for me and Andre. But
hello.
But you have like moves that you have like a move pool, and you move however many steps, and then you shoot at guys, and they can counter. I feel like everyone can get like 2 or 3 counters on your one shot, even when you're behind cover. And I feel like about a third of the way through the game, I'm plodding through hours of a game. They do let you do a suspend point, but again, even when you do fast forward, these take forever to play through when you have Fire Emblem, and they let you do fast forward and different things like, oh, it's the enemy's turn. Okay, you can hold down the A button and watch all the guys move real fast if you want. They didn't figure that out for Valkyria Chronicles 4, and I'm just, you know what? I don't need to finish every game I ever bought. I don't need to do this anymore.
Is this a bad time to tell you that Valkyria Chronicles 4 plus a bundle with the remake of the first one is on PSN right now for like $12.99? Is that a bad thing to say?
I don't know. I think I paid $20 for my Switch copy, and I don't think I'm going to do that again.
All right. I can't talk you into like
No.
Okay, fine. Jeez.
Fool me once,
All right. Another one of mine. And I know both of you like this game, and I could not understand why anyone will like this game, is Final Fantasy XII. Actually, I do understand why people like Final Fantasy XII, because at first I did too. But at some point, actually, let me start at the beginning. I think this game is very innovative for its battle system for what would basically become Xenoblade, right? And not that would Xenoblade would do better, way better. But that's kind of my problem too. I don't know if I'm just like biased because I'm playing it like later or something, and I don't think I am, but more than the battle system just being like very primitive by today's standards, I feel like every task in this game, right down to equipping stuff, it takes such Herculean effort. You have to get licenses to do this and that and the other, which means all your party members can be whatever kind of spec or class or whatever you want them to be. And you know what? I hate that. I don't like when any game does that. Give me a red mage character. Give me a fighter, a barbarian character. Make a character out of those types. Don't just tell me you can do whatever you want. Well, then I don't want to do anything. I mean, that's the way I feel.
Well, I don't like you.
I mean,
for a more mature response, I felt like they handed you the archetypes of those characters, and that's how I played the game, to assemble them that way. But I guess I see where you're coming from.
But it's just I don't want to. Give me the spells. This person can equip this. Fine. Give me I'm sorry. Maybe that makes me a big old dum-dum, but I don't want to go get a million license. You have a level 5 license to equip daggers or something. It's fucking just tell me what I can equip, man. I don't want to go through all this rigmarole and go through these and then there's a skill trees on top of that. Well, it's okay, if I want to change the type of character, I better start building up this one. It was ponderous. It was just so much busy work. And I really like the aesthetic of that game. I like the characters, actually. I was enjoying the story. Maybe I should just be a lame ass and go on YouTube and watch a Final Fantasy 12 movie or something like that and get my jollies that way. Because I tell you what, I don't want to play this anymore. Sorry, Kevin, full disclosure, Kevin let me borrow this game on Switch because I wanted to play it. And I tried so many times. I can't. I played maybe 12 to 15 hours. I'm sorry, I can't. I was hoping.
When you say the battle system is primitive, what do you mean by that? Because I still feel like that. Is it the Gambit system? I don't remember what they called. I think it was Gambit in that one, right?
The macro stuff, basically,
exactly. I didn't think that was primitive at all. That's what I got the most enjoyment out of that system, because I felt like if you put in the work, you could really fine tune that team to do exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing, though. Put in the work. You know what I mean?
I get what Andre's talking about, because that is the Gambit system is proto Xenoblade. And Xenoblade would eventually just do all that shit for you.
Yeah, and it's just here's the thing. I don't mind busy work in RPG. I just want to feel rewarded for having done that work, and I don't in Final Fantasy 12. And that's why I say primitive, because it feels like, I don't know, in older RPGs and stuff, maybe Dragon Age, the first one or something like that, you had to set up your guys like that. I know Final Fantasy 12 was older than that, but you know what I'm trying to say. You had to set up your guys in a way that felt very I can't get into it. It's so I don't know. It feels like
regimented?
I'm entering. Yeah. I can't do it. So sorry. Maybe again, I'll be a zoomy zoomer and go watch a Final Fantasy 12 movie online and say that I played it. I guess I don't know. I was enjoying the. I don't mind admitting this. I was enjoying the beautiful men in that game. They made me feel very inadequate. I mean, with that hair and those, I'm telling you what, I am not a man. Those are.
Their shiny ass chests.
Oh yeah, the hair. That one guy who has the Eddie Vedder hair, the right down to his shoulder. Man, I tell you what.
I was going to ask if any of them were Vera, the bunny people, but there are no men Vera in Final Fantasy 12 proper. Those are in tactics.
Anyway, I just couldn't get into it. It's unfortunate. Kevin, why don't you say another?
Oh, back to stupid old Kevin.
Well, I'm about to feel stupid too, believe you me.
So around the same time period, new Nintendo franchises are coming out and they're just making me feel dumb. Advance Wars. And I really like the aesthetic of that game. I really like the music. Again, I go through the tutorial. I know what all the different battle units do. I understand the fog of war and the special powers and whatever. But for some reason, once you get into maybe the 10th or 11th battle or so in the campaign, and I'll play it for 45 minutes and then I'll lose, and I don't really understand what I necessarily should have done that would have been better. And then I've got to go back to the start and I've wasted 45 minutes. And then if I start doing that again, I just find that I'm doing the same shit that lost the last time. I don't really understand what I need to functionally change to do it properly. And then I go into the podcast chat and I whine about it, and Steve's like, "Oh, it's easy. I'll just tell you what to do. Just tell me what the problem is."
I pat you on the back because I'm a big old dummy. I mean, you got the stage 11. I mean, good luck. I'm not getting into double digits. You fucking kidding me? Oh my god! Like that's way farther than me.
It's a standing offer, Kevin.
I went to the degree of setting it up so that I could play it on my Game Boy player on the GameCube and stream it into video on Discord. And I told Steve, just let me play and watch me and tell me what I'm doing wrong. And he said no, and he made me feel even dumber.
That was not what happened, but okay.
that was kind of what happened.
I don't know. I feel like that's what happened. The
offer's open. If you can give me like an hour of your time, you can probably teach me how to play that, because I feel like someday I'm going to be on my deathbed. I'm going to be like, you fucking piece of shit. You couldn't even beat Advance Wars, and now your chances.
That's not going to be me. That's going to be your son after his summer at Steve's strategy and RPG.
No, so
camp.
you teach him. No, I'm going to be on my deathbed shaking my fist at you for leaving me high and dry.
And when he comes back from my beat 'em up camp, he's gonna one life Shredder's Revenge. I'm telling you, he's gonna ace your ass so bad on the hardest level. Even though I can't do that yet. I got one more, and then Steve, you can go last. Chrono Cross, man. Like, I tried so hard, just mainly because, as any person should be, a big fan of Chrono Trigger. And look, before anyone thinks it's the reason why I didn't like Chrono Cross is not because it isn't like Chrono Trigger. I never expected it to be like that. It's not, first of all, it's not Akira Toriyama, so it's never going to be, So like I didn't have those kind of expectations as other people did. However, man, any game where like you can have like random characters, I feel like you have none. That's the reason why I can't get into Suikoden, whatever. If you have 108 characters, you may as well have 0. You cannot write that much like interesting character stuff for that many people. Right. And I don't know how many there are in Chrono Cross or what dictates which ones you get or whatever, but I didn't care about any of these people. So like, and I just kept, I kept playing. That music was so good. It was incredible. I played like I played like 22 hours of that game before I gave up because the music was so good. And like, I'm sorry, I couldn't get into it. I also thought it was fairly ugly for a PS1 game. Maybe it was the year 2000, and like PS1 games starting to look really aged by then or something like that. And I already had a Dreamcast, or I don't know what it was, but like I was like, this is just not appealing in a certain way. I don't know, man. The art and music are great, but and the battle system really pissed me off. I couldn't get into details now because it's been over 20 years, but like, I'm sorry, no. I just couldn't get into it. I really wanted to. I would have bought, I would have loved to have said I would have been a whore for Chrono anything. That was not it. You guys play Chrono Cross? I don't think we ever talked about Chrono Cross.
Now that we're so far removed from the release, I'd like to give it a try, but Chrono Trigger isn't one of the best games on Super NES, so it's a very tough act to follow, I would bet.
Yeah, but again, I swear I wasn't thinking in those terms. I was not expecting to follow up to those events or those characters or anything. I was taking it on its own completely, and I just couldn't.
I feel like I'm old enough where I can do that now. If I played it at the time, I'm sure I would have been pissed for not being like Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
If I played it in 2000 or whenever.
All right, Steve, you got another game you couldn't get into?
Well, in another time and space, I had plans for this game. You see, I was flipping through all of the nice games we have on our super duper PlayStation Plus service, and I found this game, last day of June, and I'm like, oh boy, we're gonna upload this episode on the last day of June, so won't that be a fun bit? Ha 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 ha. We'll put it in what we've been playing, and then everyone at home could be like, is he doing a bit last day of June? What the fuck is that? And then everyone could have a good laugh about that.
Can I make a confession? I'm sorry to cut you off. I saw you playing whatever this is on like PS4. I don't know if it showed up on your Discord message, like your status or something like that, or on Switch or something. I saw you play. I was like, what the fuck is Last Day of June? So I actually noticed that you played this. I didn't want to ask any further questions, but here we go.
So yes, I saw it on the PlayStation list. I downloaded it just so I can do this bit. And I mean, and it looked okay. The splash art has, you know, two people sitting on a dock. Okay, we're in for a sort of point and clicky adventure, not really, where you have to Groundhog Day kind of situation where you have to prevent a car accident from killing your wife. But it's very hard to get into because there's no text boxes. Everyone just emotes at each other, and that's very hard to get into too because no one has eyes. They're just white, big, blotchy white things that sort of emote. It's just, I understand what they were trying to do. I'm like, okay, you know what? Even without this lack of characterization, I think we can get through this. There's a lot of other interesting visuals there. This will give me something fun to talk about today. Even worse than Valkyria Chronicles, it is so damn slow. You have to play as the different characters to try and prevent this car accident however many times, to which I assume will conclude with, there was no way to prevent this car accident from happening. Spoiler alert for a game I didn't finish, I'm sure. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments at home if anyone out there actually finished this.
I can almost guarantee you I would stake my life if
on
I
that being the ending.
Yeah, no, on like nobody has ever listening to this has ever played this game. There's no way. Almost. I don't have the balls to.
I had more fun trying to explain it to you than I did playing it.
Oh my god.
I would have thought after playing Strider 2014 something with no text boxes would be extremely appealing.
You guys are so fun. You know what, man? You guys on those text boxes. Okay. One last thing here. Actually, Kevin, why don't you?
Yeah, I want to take this one because this was a big deal to me, and I'll tell you why. I was at work and I was pooping.
Ooh,
as you do.
Why did I do that?
And I was playing a game on my phone, and I was like, God, I love this game. I wish I could talk about this on the podcast, but we don't really do mobile games. So I threw caution to the wind and I said, fuck it. I put in a topic. As a primarily console-focused show, are there any mobile games that we would enthusiastically recommend? And I specifically want to talk about the game I was playing. It's called Fingers, and I want to soapbox why a little bit. So generally, I think most console gamers don't really like mobile games because generally they have poor control implementations. It's trying to, you try and play fucking Grand Theft Auto 3 on your phone and it's trying to emulate button controls and it sucks. And at best, usually the controls are just serviceable or there's something simple, you can just have the tap like Mario Run or, pull back a Angry Bird or whatever. It's very, very rare that I feel like the controls on a touchscreen device are like truly optimal for playing a game. But Fingers. So here's the concept of this game.
I'm sorry.
You put your finger on the screen and you can't lift your finger off. And so then the screen scrolls down and it's mostly like a white background and there's these little like very basic shaped monsters with eyes that have spikes on them and they move in kind of different directions. Some will hone in on you and some go in different patterns or some spin and they're long or whatever. And you have to move your finger around on your phone as this like never ending like treadmill goes underneath of it, moving these monsters along. And if you get hit with one of the monsters, it'll leave a little blood splatter. So the next time you play, if you get up to that point, you can see where the blood splatter was, and it'll leave different marks. Like, here's your average score. Here's your most recent score or whatever. It just, I don't know. It's super addictive. You can. Yeah, but it's like a cartoony blood splatter.
Of course,
you can play this game for like
okay. You sold 45. I'm downloading this when we're done.
Yeah, you can play this for 45 seconds, and it's great. But you can also sit there for an hour and play this game and not get bored of it. It just feels very good. It's so this game is also it's got to be like 8 years old. I got this on my iPad, the first gen iPad Air.
Oh my god!
When I started playing,
that's
this.
like 2015 or something.
I think it might even been like 2013 or something. Yeah. So this game is definitely older. but it still feels very like responsive and snappy, and it just feels good to play. And there would be no better way of playing this. Playing this with a joystick would suck. Playing this on a DS would suck. Vertical orientation touchscreen device is absolutely the way to play this, and it's super fucking fun. So free download, go try it. Fingers.
I
Excellent.
will download that. I am downloading that to the iPad now. I have abandoned the notes for this pod. Okay. Who wants? You know what, Steve? Go ahead.
Yeah. So I would gush about Downwell at this point. That seems to be my go-to for this sort of thing. But much like the iPad Air Generation 1 or whatever, that is also from 2015. Time has passed. And you know what? The Downwell guy made another game for Devolver. And we didn't see it on anywhere, except it's published by Netflix, apparently. And it's Netflix has like a whole suite of games that, like, they started with things based off their own show, but they have like other actual mobile games you can download onto your device and with your Netflix subscription with like that are actual mobile games. And we're gonna have to pay attention to that if they keep having games like Point B, where you're a little I don't know, some kind of cute little animal guy who has to you pull him up and I guess not really Angry Birds fashion, but you pretty much flick him up. He bounces along walls and whatever up. You're climbing up, and there's a little cat dragon thing, also drawn very cutely, trying to follow you. And he really wants fruit juice. So the idea is that you're trying to collect very specific kinds of fruit that he's asking for within a certain limit. Otherwise, he blows hot fire up your ass. If you get smacked by too many enemies, or you get hot, or the fire blown up your ass too many times before you get the juice made, the game's over. And much like Kevin's game, you can sit there and lose in a few seconds, or you can just keep this going if you want. You you get multiple jumps over time. It's similar to Downwell. You get progression based on how well you, and more bonuses based on how well you do. I'm having a good time with it so far. I just was not expecting, like, hey guys, Netflix games is actually good, or at least one of them is.
Netflix. I mean, I'm just not over that Netflix games. The fuck?
It's just in the regular app store, and you just log into it with your Netflix account.
Okay, I don't know what. I just don't know what that's. Okay, does Netflix just want to know you're playing the game? I guess, or like what?
There's no regular Point P, unfortunately. So having a Netflix subscription is the only way to play this right now.
Wait a second. So you can't even play the game if you don't have Netflix?
This particular one, no.
That's something. Okay.
It is something. They've been trying this games thing for a few years, and everyone's mostly ignored it because it's like, oh, bullshit based on shows they have. Okay, we get it. Haha. But you look at it now, and I guess they might have had it at their conference that no one watched, that they've got games on there now.
Okay.
Like Point B.
That's not a like horrible value add thing, really. I mean, they don't have to. That's just a value add to people that already have Netflix in it to avoid canceling it. I don't think they have to sell a lot of people. They're not selling people to sign up to Netflix for that. Do you know what I mean?
It's not extra.
I guess not.
It's included in the subs.
It makes sense to me.
It's just weird to download a game that you have to have Netflix to play. It's just like the concept of it, I guess. Is like,
I had no idea this existed until a few weeks ago when, like, just after we recorded the other episode, I think it was Devolver themselves that pointed, like, hey, you can get this on your thing if you have Netflix. Yeah.
I mean, they used to rent disc games, so it's maybe it's kind of fitting that now it's just part of the sub.
I guess so. Don't they still do, or did they quit doing that? I think a lot of people hung on to that for a long time. The movies, like renting the actual like Blu-rays or DVDs, God forbid.
I think there's still a Blu-ray tier.
Okay.
Oh,
it's more pricey than whatever, but I think it still exists.
All right. Now, I want to talk about, I don't play a whole lot of mobile games, but I do want to talk about one. Literally everybody within the sound of my voice has heard of it, but I think it's more of a punchline than an actual game these days. It's fucking Candy Crush Saga. Guys, this game is fucking good. I have no idea why people are like, well, this is the worst thing to happen to your phone since, rabies or something. I tell you what, this is a great time. You match up some candy and you put 3 of them together and the things happen and the colors happen and you match up
this
more
is basically
pieces.
Bejeweled, right?
But it's way better than that. I've never liked Bejeweled. I've never cared for Bejeweled.
You do like Bejeweled because you just told us you like Candy Crush.
Bejeweled. God damn it.
Do you just
what did
like
I just say to you? What did I just say? This is not Bejeweled, okay? It is not Bejeweled. Just like, what was that game on Xbox Live Arcade made by Jeff Minter? Like the very first, like if you go into like how to play, the very first line says, "This is not Tempest," even though it totally is Tempest. I forget what it is. Anyway, but no, like they've updated a lot over the years to be like way better than it used to be, especially with the phones. I have an iPhone. I don't know how it works in Android land, but like with the new haptic feedback you have, like, I don't know if that's a thing other places, but on the iPhone, holy shit, that's like really, it's like some HD rumble in your hand whenever the pieces go. I don't know. There's something about it that's really satisfying. Like,
you shake your phone and see how many pieces of candy are in it.
Yes, this is, you don't need 1-2 switch to mobile. Oh my god, Nintendo hasn't put out a mobile game in a long time. Maybe 1-2 switch the iPad version. Anyway, no, like I know it's like a really basic bitch answer to say like Candy Crush Saga, but like honestly, like for a puzzle game on your phone, you can't do any better. You really can't. I mean, tell me something that's better, more satisfying, hits that part of your brain that's like, oh, I got all the candy, yay! Like, no, I mean, all the graphics are really good. I know it's like a really silly thing to say about Candy Crush Saga, but that's what really sells it. All the little tendrils of, sparkling lightning. I'm talking about this game like it's fucking Citizen Kane, but I'm telling you, like, I swear to God.
I know you two don't watch it, but there's a very early Rick and Morty where the lame dad Jerry has a game called Poppin' Balloons, and all you do is sit there and pop balloons. And I think, and they like even applaud you if you like do a bunch in a row. And I think they even made that game unironically, and it might still be on the store right now for you to play in the real life. And the way you're explaining Candy Crush just sounds a lot like popping balloons.
There is a balloon game from like the 2000s. I think Rick and Morty. I think that predates Rick and Morty, but that could have been what they were basing it off of. Yeah. Because I do remember a balloon game, especially because they turned it into a slot machine at some point. And it was right across from my booth, so I remember seeing it definitely like
exists.
Yeah,
if it's a slot machine.
Yeah,
I'm going to download both your games, and I'll report back how they stack up against Fingers.
I don't think anything's going to beat Fingers. Once I play that, that's going to be the king of the hill. Well, I didn't want to get on here and just say Super Mario Run, like because that's like the best game. That's a game I always go back to, but everyone's played that. So
yeah, I was going to talk about Fire Emblem Heroes, no, that's really just for me, but even Part-Time UFO, right? You're better off playing that on Switch.
Miitomo, pour one out for Miitomo. That game was actually good. Sorry, it's good. Hey. Deal with it, everybody.
Hey, Andre. What are you having for dinner?
I can't tell you. I'm going to tell you off the air. No, it's not a secret. All right. Actually, speaking of going off the air, we should get the fuck out of here. Find Time Podcast on Twitter. Go ahead and go there. Check us out. In the description of this podcast, we'll have all our Twitter links and such stuff. See you next time, guys. Bye.